Good morning to everyone. Guess who's back with a vlog after I don't know how many years, because I'm giving this a shot one more time. We are here, if you haven't guessed in the background or from what I'm having, we are in Tokyo, Japan. I have the cherry blossom behind me. Me and my wife were actually concerned whether we would make it for the cherry blossom season. And we have, so konnichiwa and arigatou gozaimasu, because that's all I've been saying really since I've come here, mainly to my wife actually. I've not actually said arigatou gozaimasu to an actual Japanese person. But anyways, maybe she will wave in the background, we can just about see her, but she's over there. And it is a slightly rainy day in Tokyo. Matcha in hand, of course it's a very, very strong matcha. So excited to try the different kind of matcha flavors here. And yes, this is gonna be the Japan vlog 1 year in the making. I'm gonna show you Tokyo, I'm gonna show you Kyoto, I'm gonna show you Osaka, and maybe something else in between if we manage to sneak in a day trip somewhere. So let's do this. So I'm here at one of the most iconic temples in Tokyo. It is the Sensoji Temple, which you can see behind me. The temple is said to have been found or discovered or built in around the year 600. Said to be found by fishermen by the river. It is a Buddhist temple and dedicated to the being Kannon, who is said to represent compassion in Buddhism. And as such, this temple was built and is visited by over 30 million people annually. And now I'm one of them, along with my wife, who is somewhere in the corner. Next to Sensoji Temple is also the Nakamisa shopping street, which is lined with cherry blossoms on both sides. And it's really pretty, but obviously now we're at peak cherry blossom season and it's really crowded. But it's really nice. It's gotten that traditional historic flavor of Tokyo, which is otherwise obviously a very built up city. And all along the sides, you know, we have various souvenirs, various foods, and snacks to enjoy. So I'm just gonna turn around. And yeah, this is Sensoji Temple, Nakamisa Shopping Street, all in the area of Asakusa. Near Asakusa is the Kappabashi Kitchen Street. This is the go-to place in Tokyo for everything related to kitchenware, pots, pans, cutlery, whatever it may be. For us, it had to be the Japanese chef's knives. When we bought this and we used it here back in the UK, it made so much difference. Everything was slicing and chopping up so much quicker. We got one engraved with my wife's name in Japanese. Definitely one to get in Japan. So everyone, we are here on a rainy afternoon in Tokyo, and this is Ueno Park, one of the famous viewing spots for the cherry blossom known as the sakura or the hanami, which is a specific variant of the cherry blossom. And what we find is that this is something that only comes in spring. The cherry blossom originated in Japan and was given essentially as gifts of friendship, trees of friendship, to other nations in Europe and also in North America. And so now we see in the Northern Hemisphere the cherry blossom is abundant, and even in the UK as well. But it is most famous here in Japan. And honestly, despite the weather conditions, they're really enjoyable to look at. Is that a weird thing to say? And obviously my wife over there has been getting a good amount of photos, as she should, as have I, obviously, you know, equality, right? You know, we should also get pictures of the pink cherry blossom as men, I guess, whatever that means. But yeah, it's raining, but that hasn't tempered the mood, has it, Elliot? No, because what did we say? We said, okay, it's raining, but would you rather be in rainy England or rainy Japan? And the answer is rainy Japan. We have come to the rather serene and rather peaceful Meiji Jingu Shrine. The approach to the Meiji Jingu Shrine is actually very nice. It's literally through the jungle, through a forest, through nice tall trees and a long walkway. And it leads us to the Meiji Jingu Shrine, named after Emperor Meiji of Japan. Now, Emperor Meiji, if you know Japanese history, that name is often given to the, is given to the Meiji Restoration, which essentially restored the Empire of Japan and consolidated power under the Emperor of Japan. Now, Japan had emperors before, but it was previously a feudal state as a shogunate, And with Emperor Meiji, the Meiji Restoration brought about the Emperor of Japan and a lot of reforms that brought about a lot of change to Japanese society, whether it's in terms of the culture, the society, or the economy. Now, Emperor Meiji died late 1910s, I believe 1920 is around then is when Emperor Meiji passed away, and around that same time, 1921, is when the Meiji Jingu Shrine was built. And like many things in Japan, if you guys know, in Bosnia, for example, a lot of the time they'll say, "Oh, this was damaged in the Bosnian War." Surprise, surprise! A lot of things in Japan were damaged during World War II. From US bombing, and this was also another site that was also damaged in World War II and subsequently restored and rebuilt after. What's interesting to note is that the Japanese attitudes and Japanese view of the monarchy has changed. Pre-World War II, the monarchs had very much a divine status. Not slimmed down in the way that the Church of England, the king is like the head of the church, but in a more divine way. Like the emperors were genuinely considered divine, like infallible, like godly appointed. Whereas after World War II, as a condition of keeping the monarchy was essentially watered down and slimmed down to the figurative position that it is today. Japan is obviously these machines. They're not vending machines. There's cool things that you put in a nice little goodie bag out of, Look at that. There we go. So we got ourselves a yellow Toyota Supra. So guys, we are currently here in Shibuya, as you can see in the background, and I'm currently crossing the Shibuya crossing, which it's not obvious, but it is the busiest pedestrian crossing in the world. Now, I'm not one to make a deal of crossings, it's not that big of a deal, but you can really get like the whole glimpse of Japan here, like everything you imagine Japan to be, that sort of, I won't say a cyberpunk aesthetic, but all the lights, as you can see in the background. It really is sort of the beating heart of Tokyo, I would say. Right, Elia Razvi, do you agree with that? Yeah, she does. So, behind me, somewhere, up there, that's Shibuya Sky. So Shibuya Sky is kind of the main viewing platform. Kind of like in London, I think you kind of have, the view from the Shard? Is that what it is? So, you've obviously got that over there. And over here, it was pretty good, Elia Razvi. I'm going to have some clips playing in the background. But it was a bit cloudy, and so because of the rain, unfortunately, we couldn't go to the roof where you have the infamous view of the escalators going down. Thank you, Raj. Of the escalators going down. But regardless, my wife over here took some very nice shots, so thank you very much. Nearby Shibuya is also the area of Harajuku, which is an area of all the streetwear brands, vintage brands, all of that. And I can't lie, it was very dangerous, wasn't it, Elia? This girl over here saw some stuff. She saw some shoes. Not just her, I don't want to blame this on her. It was me as well. I saw stuff. And obviously everything's on big scales here, man. There's an electronics store here, 5 floors, and it wasn't even for what we were looking for, and we found everything else we weren't looking for, but we suddenly realized we needed it. It was difficult, man, it was difficult. And it's not even the biggest one. But anyways, I am rambling. So, there's a Shibuya crossing, lads. Lads? Is it just lads? Sorry, I'm rambling on. So, Shibuya! Not too far from Shibuya is Team Lab Borderless. Team Labs is a renowned immersive digital art museum in Tokyo where over 75 plus interactive digital artworks move, interact, and blend together without boundaries, hence the name Borderless, where art breaks free from rooms, creating a constantly shifting, immersive, and sensory experience. This was a lot of fun for the both of us. We got to see a lot of things, take a lot of pictures, and really connect with a different realm. I cannot believe I'm saying this, but I'm actually at Mount Fuji. You don't even need to be someone that knows about Japan to know how iconic Mount Fuji is. 3,776 meters high, snow-capped for half the year, And believe it or not, it is only 100% visible 80 to 90 days of the year out of 365, and we have been so exceptionally lucky that we are actually here when it is 100% visible. Like, I cannot tell you how sick this is to just look at Mount Fuji, which features so prominently in Japanese culture. Every painting, t-shirts, whatever it is, it's so stunning, it's so peaceful. Like, there was a concern, I was like, oh my god, we're not going to make it, should we go somewhere else? It's stunning, man. Like, you just have to follow me. Crazy.
Oh, minute.
We're in Tsukiji Fish Market. It's one of the main fish markets in Japan, in Tokyo I should say. And you can get everything, the freshest seafood, this little fatty tuna and salmon. And you've got eggs, we had lovely egg omelette as well. And it is so tasty. We're actually here for round 2, believe it or not. We came for breakfast and it just melts in your mouth. Like Elia behind the camera, like she's having a field day as well. You cannot miss Tsukiji Fish Market. If you're in Tokyo and have some spare time, don't miss a chance to visit the Tokyo Jamiat Mosque, which was funded and to this day is managed by the Turkish state. It's a truly beautiful mosque and it really is a copy of what's in Istanbul. Our final stop in Tokyo is Akihabara. Akihabara is an area that specializes in manga, anime, video games, electronics, you name it. It's home to the largest electronics store in the world that's 8 floors high and has all of the anime goods you need, whether it's the manga, Demon Slayer, Spirited Away, Totoro, Naruto, figurines, retro video games, retro arcade games, everything is there for anyone. Even if you're not a fan of anime, you should check it out. And that's a wrap on Tokyo. It's time to move on to Kyoto, the historic capital of Japan. And what a way to get there. It has to be the Shinkansen, the first bullet train system in the world with the top speed of 300 kilometers per hour, whizzing us from Tokyo to Kyoto in 2 hours. What a journey. One thing that's interesting here in Japan is that there's an expectation before entering a temple that you need to wash your hands in an effort to purify yourself. Now, as a Muslim, this concept is very familiar because, we have the concept of wudu, that you have to purify yourself with water in this way before praying. So it's interesting to see how this concept of purification with water is there in other cultures as well. And it feels like you can relate to that in a physical and spiritual sense. So then, our first stop in Kyoto is the Fushimi Inari Shrine. The mountain is also called Mount Inari, so it's actually unclear in history whether Inari the mountain was named first or Inari the shrine was named first. Now the shrine itself was founded in the year 711 CE, not 711 the convenience store, as my wife made that connection to, and I did, fair enough. But moving on to more important matters, how did the shrine come about? Legend says that a man by the name of Irogu shot an arrow at a mochi, right? So a mochi, for those who don't know, it's like a sticky rice paste, it can be quite sweet. Shot an arrow at a mochi, which turned into a bird, flew away and landed on Mount Inari. And since then the monks said a shrine must be built here. Then after that it received imperial patronage by the Emperor Murakami a few hundred years later. And as a result we have this Shinto shrine. Now this Shinto shrine is actually quite unique in a couple of ways. It's quite unique in that, number one, you've got these, I think, 10,000 torii gates, I think they're called, that lead all the way up. It's about 4 kilometers, I think, to the top. And every single gate was a donation from a business in the area seeking to gain that connection between the earth and the heavens, given that the gates rise up. And along the way, there are many mini shrines along with the main shrine at the bottom. The interesting thing about the shrines at the bottom is they're different, because normally the Shinto shrines, everything is happening inside, like in an enclosed space, indoors, whereas I guess you could say these are open plan shrines. Is that a weird thing to say? But yeah, the other thing is, it's an extremely popular attraction in Kyoto, and it gets very, very crowded, and so the experience isn't as enjoyable if, it's just masses of people. So the advice is to come pretty early in the morning. And me and my wife came, to be fair, not like terribly early. We got here at about I want to say before 8:30, roughly. And yeah, it was busy, but because of how long the path is and because of 10,000 gates, you just need to walk a bit further along and you will always find a section where you can take some good photos. So that's the Fushime Inari Shrine. Behind me is the Kiyomazu-dera Temple, one of the most popular temples in Kyoto. And what's different about this temple is that it is not a Shinto temple. It is actually a Buddhist temple dedicated to Kannon. Now that Kannon name is maybe one you may have heard before when I was at a different temple. I think Meiji Jingu? Yeah. The Kannon is a manifestation of, in Buddhism, that represents compassion and mercy. The same as the temple in Tokyo. It was not Meiji Jingu, sorry, Sensoji Temple, sorry. Now, the road or the path leading up to the temple is filled with shops, and maybe I'll have some clips playing how it's very, very crowded if you come here like later in the morning or early afternoon. And that's because, especially during cherry blossom season, it is heaving with tourists, and there isn't another way you can go up or down. So that's why, to be honest, where possible, try to be early. We were pretty early, somewhat early, to Fushime Inari, and it was okay. And when we came here, it was busy but manageable, and now it's ram-packed. So I would say, where possible, try and come as early as possible, otherwise you're going to have to contend with the crowd.
Kyoto in the spring is especially beautiful, as you will walk past rivers lined with cherry blossom trees. Given how historic Kyoto is, you will find many old historic alleys that truly evoke that historic culture of Kyoto and Japan as a whole. Near the Pontocho Alley, which is this narrow alley that we're walking through, is the Nishiki Market, which is a hub of activity in Kyoto, where you can find all kinds of produce and seafood. We found a lot of really cool seafood here. We had sushi as well as grilled salmon that they were making on the grill, and you can also get tempura and all kinds of food items.
Currently at the Arashiyama bamboo forest. Now, one thing you know with East Asia is bamboo as a feature. Pandas love bamboo, they love eating bamboo, fair enough. But here in Kyoto, the Arashiyama bamboo forest is near the Tenryuji temple just outside of Kyoto. Well, not that far, about 40 minutes from our hotel. And it's another one of those places that we've had to wake up really early for. So the Arashiyama bamboo forest and the Fushime Inari temple, both of those people generally recommend waking up early for to avoid the crowds, because a lot of the tour buses come in and it gets hella packed. And you'd imagine for something like this, you'd want to enjoy nature the way it should be, rather than, just be among thousands or hundreds of tourists all packed up trying to take pictures. We didn't wake up that early. We woke up at 6:30 a.m. today, and we got here for around 7:40 a.m. And there were people, but nothing crazy, just the amount that you'd be like, cool, like it's a sunny day, people have come out. And it's just a really nice leisurely stroll, and we've been really taking in the nature here at the Arashiyama. I'm currently at the Nijo Castle, which is my next stop. And the Nijo Castle is that sort of traditional castle in the sense of, you've got the castle surrounded by a moat, and then it's other external gates, obviously to protect from invaders and, all of that, which is common in every other castle. But it's a Japanese castle, so, with all the design, all the influence, all the architecture, and it was actually built by the first shogun of the Edo shogunate. In addition to that, it was also the site where the last shogun, the 15th shogun, surrendered to the emperor, and it ended, I forget the exact number, it ended hundreds of years of samurai rule in Japan. Now, one thing that is special about Japan, we know this in London, the Kyoto Garden Holland Park, is the Japanese garden, and how Japan and the Japanese people have their relationship with nature and maintain their gardens. And to be honest, the nature left quite an impression on my wife. Isn't that right, Leslie?
Yeah, the nature's really pretty. I think even like the trees and the way they maintain kind of the grass makes it all come together in a very, very unique and very peaceful picture.
Kind of the samurai museum. This wasn't actually even part of the itinerary. But Elia, bless her, decided that's what we can do. We're trying to get dressed up as a samurai. The warriors, well respected. Whether I'm well respected, inshallah, I think I am. very fun experience to me. Oh, you're in Kyoto. You can't be in Japan without trying Wagyu, and now there's options with halal Wagyu in Japan. Have a look at this. It's what's called a sukiyaki style, which is like a hot pot kind of style of cooking, and it really soaks in the flavor. It's got like this soy sauce thing on, and this is how the Wagyu actually looks. A5 grade. Look at the marbling. It is absolutely unreal. It literally melts, and they cooked it in beef fat as well. It's the best bite of beef I've ever had. Like, me and Elliot literally dumbfounded. And like this in the UK would be like, firstly you would hardly get it, and it would probably be hundreds of pounds, and here we're having it for so much less. And like all of this, and surprisingly, like it's just raw egg, but it's actually such a good dipping sauce. Like, look at this. Like, it's so soft. Oh my god. You have to have like eggs once in your life. Good morning, and it's another day here in Japan, and we are outside 7-Eleven, and it's something I grew up with, but in Japan it's just really cool because you can do all kinds of customizations on drinks and food. And 7-Eleven, for those who don't know, is a convenience store chain. It's in America, but in America it's more known for Slurpees, and that's about it. Whereas over here, it has everything you could ask for from a convenience store point of view. One of our favorites has been the smoothies. When you get a smoothie, you basically get it in the glass like this, and it's the frozen fruit, and they've got an in-store blender that blends it for you in all kinds of combinations. Now the food has also been interesting to try here. Bakery has been difficult for me and Elia, and to be honest for any Muslim, because they use a lot of lard and gelatin in most of the ingredients. And yet, we found some foods that were nice. I've been having my egg sandwich as a breakfast item. You can also get tuna onigiri, which are quite nice. Although Elia's a so-so on the tuna onigiri. And then you can do all kinds of things. You can also customize your own drink. So you can buy like a latte, then you can get a pack which is just ice, and then you can add this thing called coolish, which is like a drinkable ice cream. It's like a liquid ice cream, which Elia really enjoys. So yeah, 7-Eleven. Behind me is the golden pavilion of the Kinkakuji temple. The golden pavilion is actually made of gold leaf wrapped around the outside, and it actually serves as the inspiration for Pokemon Gold and Silver's bell tower. The Kinkakuji temple is a Zen Buddhist temple, and this whole park and garden space was built by the third shogun, who built it into the Kitayama Palace. And this, along with the rest of Kyoto, was made a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1994. Just look at the pavilion, look at the trees. Surprise, surprise, it's another curated Japanese garden. Now, when you look at Golden Temple, I can't lie, let's be honest, you think of the Golden Temple in Amritsar, don't you? Well, you would if you're an Indian and you only think about Indian stuff, which, I don't know, I guess, unfortunately, for one that category. Anyways, distraction aside, look at it.
Today the Miyazaki Wagyu, Miyazaki Wagyu.
Don Quixote. I don't even know where to get started, bro. It's unbelievably overstimulating. Like, thankfully, you know, we were looking at TikTok to get some recommendations. Not for me mainly. I mean, there might be some things that seem pretty cool, but there's just a lot of skincare products that, like, you know, I'm sure you guys know Korean, Japanese that they're known for, and it's just like lines on lines on lines of stuff. And so we had to look into TikTok, like, you know, what's recommended, what's what, moisturizers, face masks, hair oils, bunch of stuff you never even heard of, I'll be honest. Elia, show us the shopping bag. Like, and then Kit Kat's food is literally like so dense, product on product on product, multi-packs on multi-pack. God knows what the amount is in British pounds, honestly. Like, we'll find out obviously upstairs. Don Quixote, like, they call it a discount retailer, but like, it's not even Poundland, do you know what I mean? Like, it's everything at like a discount, obviously tax-free.
And that's Kyoto done. And now it's time to move on to Osaka, one of the biggest cities in Japan and a hub for everything: shopping, food, culture, and, importantly for us, Universal Studios Japan.
Here at Universal Studios in Japan, one of the main highlights is Super Nintendo World behind me. Super Nintendo World is just everything that is great about Nintendo, especially we're on Yoshi's Adventure. We were on Mario Kart, Koopa's Adventure before, where, you know, they had VR glass and we were like shooting and it was like a proper Mario Kart vibe. There's also Donkey Kong here as well. And just look at this, man, it's just so much fun, you know, like we're adults here and this is what we're doing. And instead of adulting stuff, do you get me? I don't even know what adulting stuff is, but this is where we are. Vibes. One thing about Universal Studios is we got an express pass, which obviously, you know, it's self-explanatory. I've never done this at a theme park, but I thought it's worth it here. And to be fair, for the most part, it has been. But we've squeezed in so many rides, it's crazy. And we got ourselves on the match because we're in Super Nintendo World. Mr. Obviously you can see Mario, and over here we have the very lovely Princess Peach over here. So Princess Peach, do you want to talk about how you felt about the ride so far and what you think generally?
Yeah, I've enjoyed all of them, but the one we just went on was really good. It was very creative. There was like a lot of like story in it, and it was like quite a fun ride. So I was laughing all the way throughout.
Yeah, caught off guard, I have to say. Like, she thought that Minecraft Madness and Donkey Kong Country was going to be like some basic thing, and it caught off guard. And it was very creative, like the way like it looked like the rail was broken, but actually the rail was underneath. So yeah, vibes.
Speaking of Nintendo and video games, chances are you've played in an arcade at some point in your life. Nothing is quite iconic like the Japanese arcades, because most arcade games you would have played probably would have come from Japan, from the likes of Sega, and there were so many options in Japan to choose from. This arcade we played at was 7 floors high, games on games on games, and you could easily spend hours in here. So then that brings us to our final night in Osaka and indeed Japan, and we're going to spend our final sunset at the beautiful Osaka Castle, which holds great historical significance within Japan itself, especially as it was the place that played a major role in the unification of Japan during the 16th century of the Azuchi Momoyama period. We spent our final evening at Shinsakai, which means New World in Japanese. Shinsakai is a vibrant retro-themed district in southern Osaka designed in 1912 and inspired by Paris and Coney Island in the United States. Famous for its nostalgic atmosphere, it is iconic for the Tsutenkaku Tower, neon lights, and affordable kushikatsu, or deep-fried skewers. It offers a gritty, historic alternative to central Osaka's modern, bustling areas, and it's just great to walk around at night and just enjoy the vibes. Just like that, our 2-week adventure in Japan has come to an end. Honestly, we miss it so much, and we'll take so many memories away. We hope all of you enjoyed this vlog, and we hope you also get to experience what we experienced in Japan and visit it someday. Without a doubt, we're going to be back in Japan for part 2. Thank you so much for watching. Arigatou gozaimasu.